how was your trip? Did you have
It
fun?
was really, yeah, well, yeah, we had a really great time. It's funny, we go on vacation and we go to visit a place. We don't like go on vacation and then do 500 other things while we're there, you know?
Yep.
So we go to the beach and we stay at the beach. So that picture I sent you, that is what we did for a week. My son fished in the surf, and my daughter and I read on the beach, and we took walks. And
Which beach?
my sister-in-law lives in Clearwater, but we stayed down a bit at Indian Rocks Beach, just outside of Tampa.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That had to be just
Terrible.
painful.
It was painful. It always is. Yeah, my sister-in-law is our excuse to go to Florida for spring break every year. So, yeah.
Yay for excuses.
Right.
We like that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I actually had my first weekend without working at all in about 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was pretty excited. We did. Have you been to Philadelphia before?
No.
When you come, especially if you come with the kids, the Franklin Museum, or not it's not the museum. It's Franklin Institute, which is a museum. It's a little bit like the Exploratorium in Northern California in that there's a lot of hands-on-y kind of stuff, but it's also like there's one entire room that's just machines and how machines work, and not machines like, you know, big car engines or anything, but very simple things like how do gears work, and where do they lose their power, how do you get them to gain power. But they also have the actual automaton that was in Hugo.
Oh, cool.
So you can see this little detailed drawing, and they have several different settings for it to run, and the one that they had going when we were there was it was about, I totally need a ruler to make this make sense. The drawing was about 2 inches tall and maybe 3 inches wide, and it was a tiny, tiny, tiny little ship with rigging all over it and everything.
Cute.
All made with an ink pen, you know, like a dip.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. Oh, and Kathy says you were in Florida. She lives near Jacksonville. I knew you lived near Jacksonville, Kathy. Were you down further than that, Dawn?
Is Jacksonville up in the Panhandle, I think?
I think so. Kathy will tell us in a minute.
So Tampa's down south of Cape Canaveral. Like, there's Cape Canaveral, and there's Orlando that's, like, in the middle, and then Tampa's down on the Gulf side from there. Not as far south as Miami, even though Miami's on the other side. But, yeah. So we're, you know, north of Sanibel and all that stuff. But, yeah, it was lovely.
Yay. And your weather was good? There were no hurricanes, you know, washing
No
away.
hurricanes. Yeah. We've never had one of those. We've had some really good wind, and we did have one day super crazy wind. That makes for fun surf if there's not a riptide warning.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We had some of that when we were in Cape May last summer, where we had some good body surfing day. Oh, Kathy said no, they're on the East Coast.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
I don't know my Florida geography nearly as well as I should.
You'll have to forgive my lemon drop in my cheek because the pollen counts down south were wacky crazy while we were down there.
Right.
So my allergies are like not happy.
Does the lemon drop help with your allergies, or is it just keeping something in your mouth?
It keeps me from coughing because of all the gunk draining out of my nose.
Uh-huh. I have learned that
I shared that with the world. That's awesome.
No, but that's good because those little lemon droppy things I have found to be spectacular for dry mouth and for recording and everything. They really, plus they taste good.
Mm-hmm. That they do.
I like them. I have something to show you that Aiden thing too. I'm making this for him, and he saw it last night and he said, "Mom, that is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." Okay,
So cute.
knowing that is how he responded when he saw it. This is a little Cthulhu head.
Of course it is.
So I found, when I was digging through stuff, I found this ridiculous glow in the dark green
Yarn.
Yarn. Ooh, no, I don't have. Oh yeah, I do. I have the ball band. I think it's probably out of commission anymore. But it was Bernat, and you can see this. I even got on sale. It was $3.99, and I got it for $1.99.
Awesome.
Right? But it does.
Yeah, you can't pass up $1.99 yarn, especially if it glows in the dark.
Absolutely, because I will find a reason to use glow in the darkness. And
my guess is you can probably make a whole herd of them out of the ball of Bernat glow in the dark yarn.
Yes, I've been making them though, so I only have like that much left. But then I have blues and yellows and pinks.
Do they all glow in the dark?
Yes. It's completely ridiculous. But I love this pattern, and I'll put it up on the I'll do a share in a second, but I wanted to show you the nice job that the little curlies are doing.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the easiest nifty things I'd done, and the rejoin when you come back over, so much easier in crochet than it is to do that in knitting.
Yeah, those curls are super easy.
They are, and they look really impressive, I think.
Mm-hmm. I actually have a whole scarf. I think it was a pattern that was on Crochet Me way back in the day when Crochet Me was still an independent magazine done by Kim Worker, you know? It was like a nitty thing. Right. But it's a whole, like, there's just this, like, this tiny little band, but then you, like, crochet all these little corkscrews off of it. So it's this whole scarf that's made of all of these crazy variegated sock yarn corkscrews. I made it for my daughter when she was little, and she loved it. Yeah, but of course now nobody wears it because it's this crazy. Yeah.
Well, there are many Cthulhu hats that are on Ravelry.
Mm.
So and their hats, the way that the dwarven battle bonnet was a hat, so you know, it's just got the eye holes, and then it's like.
I did tell you I crocheted one of those, right? Two of them.
No.
Oh my god. I'm gonna walk away for a minute. You talk.
Okay.
And I'll be back. Okay.
I have comments to go through, and some of them are for you. So when you come back, I'll fill you in.
This is worth waiting for. Hang on.
Excellent. There's always a good reason to wait for a dwarven battle bonnet, even knit. But now we get the crocheted version. I have never seen a crocheted version on Ravelry, so I'm assuming she invented this version. But I'm looking here. Oh, Tara's made it too. Cricket Knit says, I just got my nose pierced, so I'm thankful allergy season hasn't started on Long Island. Ha, ha, ha. I hope you are armed with really, really soft tissues. Like, oh my God, I can see what Dawn's bringing. The lotion saturated tissue, because yikes, that is a scary piercing place. So Dawn, one of our commenters, Asiatex? I'm totally saying that wrong. I have my screen darkened, otherwise my glasses turn completely blue.
Yeah.
But she said that you inspired her to pick up her crochet hooks, but the only yarns left in her stash are all different weights, and it's driving her crazy.
Mm. Small projects.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any? Oh, actually, I have one. While you
cowls and hats.
Cowls and hats and little cork guys.
Mitts too.
And mitts. Instead of screen sharing, I'm putting stuff into the chat window. So show us your battle bonnet.
There's two of them. They were the kids' Halloween costumes, the boys' Halloween costumes one year. So let me take my glasses off. It goes better that way.
Because you have to.
Because I have to. Yeah.
Oh my God.
This one's a little small because it's for my little guy.
That is, and that's a crochet?
Yeah. Look.
Oh my God.
Oh cool. My God. Yeah. And then you just stuff the horns. I don't even know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
And you do like all this crazy braiding
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, now was all of that in your stash?
No, nope. Actually, none of it was. I bought stuff just for this.
Wow.
The other one's pretty much the same.
Tara
Their hair was different.
Oh my God. Is that a variegated gray?
It's a heathered gray.
Yeah. Tara says that is epic, and I think I have to agree.
This is when you want to crochet tighter. This is when you want the crochet that doesn't. Right. You want to crochet super tight. But the boys were so cute that year they wore those.
They had to have been.
Yeah.
Did you just look at the knitted pattern and create the crochet off of it?
No, it's a crochet pattern.
It is.
Mhm. Yeah, I'll find it. They're in my project, so I'll find it for you.
Cool.
There's actually several of them, but I liked this one the best. I did do, and I think I wrote notes on my project page because I did do some modifications. I think maybe in how the bobbles were made, or there's something I modified about it that I didn't quite like how it was done, so I switched it up.
Excellent. I'm going to see if I can actually find you on Ravelry, because then I can give you to give you to the people in the chat window. Ooh, there you are.
Oh yeah, they can go.
You have 161 different projects. Girlfriend.
There should be a tab. Is there a tab that says crochet? That'll narrow it down for you.
It does. It does have that. Yes, that is excellent. Oh, look at this. I love it. I can copy and paste all over the place. Yay! Oh yeah, and well, wait. Asia Tex, I'm totally. That can't be right. I know the TX at the end is for Texas, but are you in the? You said she says it's a little too warm to be making hats and mitts right now in Texas, which I get. What part of Texas are you in, and did you wash away? Are you still being washed away? I haven't looked at the news lately, but I saw something about another storm going across the Midwest. I'm very worried about all of our people.
Ooh, look, there's pictures of my tentacle scarf in there, too. I don't know. Where are the boys? They're in here somewhere. I'll find them.
That's fine. I see your Madame Defarge knit stuff. Okay. Tex. Oh, and you're in Austin. Yay. My husband was in Austin for South by Southwest Education. I am glad you are still there. He said that they got flown around during South by Southwest, but and some rain.
Yeah, rain. It was scary down there.
Yeah. I know. I keep checking on listeners who I know are in Texas because it's kind of nerve-wracking.
Here, I called the project the Epic Viking Beards.
Because yes.
The pattern's but the pattern is called Epic Viking Beard.
That is so funny.
And I did write some notes. Well, let's see. Maybe if I tag this as crochet, it'll be easier to find.
Oh.
We're doing a really crappy job of explaining to the people who are going to listen to this later what they look like. I just realized.
True. We should. Why don't you do that while I pull it up? I know without Eric in here.
So they are. Now I know what yarn I use. This is all Red Heart stuff.
No way.
Yeah.
There it is.
Except I didn't say. I don't think I said what I used for the actual hair part. But the helmet part is all Red Heart Super Saver stuff. And the acrylic, I think the acrylic content actually makes it look a little shiny like metal.
Yeah.
It works, Yeah.
So
it has two just really, classic horns that come off the top.
Right.
And then the main helmet color is what I guess would be a bronzy brown, which technically is cafe latte, I guess. And then there's a band of heather gray that goes around the head, and it has some bobbles in it to look like rivets. And then there's a mass of whoever knows what. I have no idea what I used. I didn't put it in there. Some kind of bulky weight. Oh no! I know what this is. It's that homespun stuff.
Oh, lion! Isn't that lion?
Yes. And I unraveled it. So it looks like hair. So it's all these wavy pieces of, there's oranges and browns and reds. And some of it is braided, some of it is pulled together into ponytails, but then there's a nose piece that comes down off the helmet, and under the nose piece there's this like enormous mustache part that comes off each side, and those are braided too, the mustache.
Those the way the mustache looked on you completely made me think of Stoic the Vast in the How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah. Yeah. They were a hoot. They really didn't take that long to make, but they were really fun, and the boys get a lot of bang out of them. They still put them on and charge around the house.
I imagine that on really cold days, cold days though, they have to be nice and warm because they are.
Yeah. You know. The other thing we've used it for, actually, the school my kids go to, they don't celebrate Halloween in school, but a couple of weeks later, there's National Book Week. And during National Book Week, they have the kids talk about their favorite book, and they get to come in one day dressed as one of their favorite characters. And my little guy has used these for like the last 3 or 4 years, and he goes as Gimli.
Perfect.
And he like gets out of the car and he pulls it over his head, and he walks into school as this big bushy mass of bearded, mustached 4th grader.
I love it. It's like my work here is done.
Yeah. Yeah. I now have a list of teachers at school who want me to make them. And I'm like, I don't really want a side business as, making them for free. I love you, but
not that much.
I've made 2. I don't really want to make that many more.
No.
Yeah.
No, well, and also doing something that's that tight for the...
It is really tight. It's really dense.
Yeah. Because even the Cthulhu, I'm using one of my favorite. You know what? I bought this hook with you because this was one of the Brittany...
Oh, yeah.
The Brittany walnut ones that I bought when you were teaching me how to do the wave crochet on the boat.
Yeah.
And I love it.
So you bought that in Alaska, probably.
It was either Alaska or it was that one the store islands? The store that we met at.
In Seattle?
In Seattle.
Oh.
That was awesome.
There's a store in Seattle.
It wasn't the one on Queen Anne Hill, but it was one that was down in town, and it was awesome because I think you were sitting there crocheting and we hadn't met in person yet, and right. I walked by talking to someone and you went, ah!
Because I heard your voice. I know. Yeah, that was funny.
And it was like red wine. Wah!
Yeah, that was really funny.
That was awesome.
Yeah, well, and then it was that weird, weird triangle thing happened because so at the airport, I had sat down with a group of people, and it was me and the person who was traveling with Brenda, Dane.
Right.
So me and Meg, and then Amy, singer, all kind of connected at the airport. And then we came to the yarn store where there was you and Brenda, and I can't remember, was somebody with Amy? I don't remember. But it was like this weird...
Philly, yes.
This weird triangle. Yeah, Phil. It was this weird triangle of like...
I know, all the overlapping. And that was the trip you met Jenny the Potter on, wasn't it?
Yes. And I had connected with Jenny here before because her mom had broken her foot. Right. And needed to know about how to get around. Right. And then, there was this whole thing about get a cart, yeah. Yes, because in your previous little life, motorized thing, I was a physical therapist. So you know your way around things like that. Because Dawn is multi-talented in ways that cannot even be believed. I always tell people I know a lot of things, or I know a lot of broad things. I don't know them in like a whole lot of depth necessarily. I know a little bit about many things. That's good though. Yeah. I figure if you know enough to ask people questions at parties. Yes. Yep. Then you're good. You're pretty good. Well, and if you know enough to know what you don't know, that's half the battle. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of the knowing what I don't know this last couple of weeks.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely. So
Yes.
we drive to Florida, which was a whole experience in itself this year with the political signs, and we won't get into that, but my kids learned a lot about, I mean, we drive through this part of the world all the time, and we do a lot of really fun stops at state parks and national monuments and battlefields and things like that, but the whole like political signage thing brought my kids to a whole nother appreciation of parts of the world that they don't usually come into contact with. We had a lot of very interesting conversations in the car.
I'll bet.
Yeah, that is very true. But the thing I worked on that, again, has been marinating for a long, long time was my Matchmaker, which is another Martina Behm project, which is, yeah, this one is a fun one. It uses, well, she has it written a bunch of different ways, but it's written for multiple kinds of yarn. It's done in garter stitch, and you basically start by doing a great big triangle, and you can do chunks of solids or you can stripe, and then she has this interesting way of folding it, and then it's like you do a miter to fill in, so it ends up being a cowl. So the original triangle ends up getting folded on itself, and then you do a miter to like fill in another triangle, and it ends up being this big cowl with a point on it.
Whoa.
Yeah, but it's been very useful for using up a bunch of yarn scraps that I had. It's a lot of briar rose scraps, and then what was
the name of that one again?
Matchmaker.
Okay. I'm looking while you're pulling.
And I think I started it because for my birthday last year, I think it was, my family bought me some Malabrigo.
We like your family.
Yeah. And this is a kettle-dyed Malabrigo sock yarn. You know, which is just the usual. And the color, it says, is Piedras.
Oh, cool.
And that is, so this bit.
And you're getting compliments, by the way, on how pretty it is.
And it's like it's not coming over very well on the camera, but it's kind of it has greens and some blues and some purples with little bits of gold and some red highlights and stuff. And it, you know, it's one ball of sock yarn. What are you going to do with one more ball of sock yarn? It's beautiful, though, and I love it. But it coordinated perfectly with a bunch of the briar rose sea pearl ends that I had left over. So I put it in with some purple and green sea pearl leftovers that I had, and it works really well.
It really does. Can you hold it up again so we can see where it goes from the purple to kind of the greens and... Wow. And so is that just one row of each for a little while to get the stripiness?
Yeah. Yep. So it's just the you know, down and back with the garter to get the stripes. Yeah.
So pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty. Tara said she's been hoarding one ball in her stash of the Malabrigo for socks for one day. I wonder if Tara's getting tempted to use that ball for something else now.
I knit socks really slowly, and for some reason I knit scarves much faster. So I tend to, I do knit socks, but scarves go faster. Yeah. But I made some great, this is one of those, I had knit the original triangle really fast, and then because I didn't do one of the like presets, I kind of went off on my own and did my own stripe sequence and my own stitch count and whatever. So then I had to do a bit of math to figure out the folded bit and set up the miter and things like that. And I don't know why my brain could not process it for the longest time. But I was like, okay, I'm going to be in the car with nothing else to do but look at this with my calculator, count, and figure it out. And I was like, that was totally simple. Why did that take me so long to do? So I got the miter set up, and away I went.
I think
when
it
it's
always
getting
looks simple on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. But for the longest time, I looked at the directions and I was like, I don't understand what we're doing here.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah.
happened to me more than once.
Then I set it up and it was good. And it should probably, I'll be done with that this week. Because now
Wow.
the rows are getting drastically shorter. Because like you start at the long end of the miter and you decrease as you work towards the middle. So
That's nice.
yeah. It's always lovely when the end of the project gets shorter and shorter.
Yeah, I have to say I like those shawls that wind up going towards the short end.
The point?
Yeah, I'm very much the horse going back to the barn kind of thing. It's like, all right, let's get a move on because I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the ones you do from like one point and you go towards the big middle and then you decrease again. Those are lovely too.
Yes. Yes. In fact, I kind of like those too, just because it gives you a chance to kind of ramp up and get used to how the pattern is the rhythm of the pattern, and then you get to the middle and you're like, okay, I'm done. Let's just move along.
Right. Yep.
And it works.
Yep.
Works well.
Hey, there's a question.
Yay!
In the group chat on Google Hangouts.
Oh.
It says, Dawn, what brand of kitchen cotton do you like from Robin in Austin? I've used lots of kinds of kitchen cotton, but I probably use sugar and cream the most.
I like that one.
Yeah, I think because it tends to be a little bit less splitty. I use that. I also quite like to use Cotton Ease by Lion Brand.
Yeah. Do you have a particular hook brand that you prefer?
It kind of I wonder if I have any of them around here. Ooh, maybe. In terms of like what my favorite, I have one old. Nope, it's not in there. Where is it? My hook from my grandma.
Wow.
Because I was stupid when I was younger and I didn't keep nearly as much of my grandma's stuff as I should have, like her button box. She was a seamstress and she had this huge box of buttons and all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
But is it in here? This one. This is my favorite hook ever, and it's a really old Susan Bates.
Wow.
It's a really old Susan Bates, but it has this really great neck on it.
Yep.
That I really like. Yeah, and I know the modern ones I've tried, and they're not quite the same. But this is like my favorite metal hook ever. My hook preference kind of depends on the fiber I'm working with. And whether I can stand listening to the metal clink against my ring all the time, because I'm a righty, and how I hold my hook, it clicks a lot. I also quite like the bamboos, just the basic.
But that's not one of the. No, I'm destroying your showing. That's not one of the super cheap bamboos. No way.
Yeah.
But it's not. Yep. I thought they were all kind of blondies.
You can go into Michael's, or at least you used to be able to. Yeah. They don't have all of its markings are. Oh no! Hold on. Can I still read it? These might be crystal.
That's it. Crystal Palace. That's what they are.
Yep, they're the Crystal Palace ones.
I haven't tried theirs. Now I'm going to have to because I like the way that looked.
Yeah, they're really smooth, and I like them quite a bit. And then my favorite ever hooks, and you can't get them usually unless you're super lucky, are these.
Are those the Brittany?
No, these are hand-turned by Chris of Briar Rose's husband, Roger.
Whoa.
And for a while, he was making them. They have these little acorns on the end. I love them. I think because the end is fatter. It's bigger. Yeah. So it's weighted on the end, so they feel very substantial. And there's something about that I really like.
Yeah.
So I have a bunch of them in a bunch of different sizes and different woods. If he's still making them, you'd be able to find them at shows with her. Sometimes she brings them.
Cool.
If he's making them, but I don't know if he's making them anymore.
Yeah. Well, having the bulk at the back end solves the problem that I've put up with the Brittany, that it's got a wonderful well for your fingers,
but it's
to
too bulky here. Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
I wound up cramping up with the tininess of it.
Yeah.
But it's nice and smooth.
Yeah.
I pet my hooks. Ooh.
And so then my favorite, I'll show you this. This is really nice.
What?
I know. Look.
Did you make that?
No, I didn't. It is by CrippenWorks.
Ah, it's so cute.
You can find their stuff online. I bought it at a show. Or no. Yeah, no, I bought it at a show. But you can find her stuff online, and she makes rolls. Then it just all rolls up
into a nice little bundle.
With a little elastic, so it all stays held shut.
I like the elastic instead of the tie. The tie.
Yeah, it just goes around.
That's so smart. It's like she uses stuff and knows that you would want elastic rather than a slippery ribbon.
Exactly. For those of you watching at home, listening at home.
God, we're so bad at this.
We are.
I know.
Horrible.
It's
a big. I keep my crochet hooks in a big fabric roll by CrippenWorks, and it has little individual pockets on the inside with a flap that folds over the top to keep the hooks in place when you roll it up, so they can't fall out the end when you toss it in your bag. But it rolls up into a tidy, what is that, about 6 inches long by, I don't know, a couple inches in diameter. So it's really easy to throw in a bag and just have all my hooks with me all the time.
It's nice. And that is one of the benefits, I think, of crochet that I struggle with not having in knitting, is that crochet hooks are pretty much going to be as long as crochet hooks are. And so when you put them into a holder like that and you roll it all up, you're pretty much done. But if you need to have a range of knitting needles, you might go from, the 5-inch sock knitting things to the circulars, which don't fit, and then I'm just unhappy.
Right. I started, somebody, I don't remember who it was, gave me the brilliant suggestion of keeping all my circulars in pencil boxes. Like the school, the plastic clamshell pencil boxes.
Yeah.
And that works really well.
What a great idea.
Mm-hmm. So I just have them in baggies, coil them around themselves and put them in baggies that have the size on them, and then just stash them inside the pencil box. And that makes them, they don't all fit in one pencil box, but that makes them much more portable. And I have my DPNs in another one. I just rubber band the set of DPNs together and stash them in another pencil box.
Yep. Yeah. When I stopped getting out very much, I wound up just getting one of those shoe, the back of the door shoe holders.
So you just stash them in there.
Everything's in there, which was great when we moved, because I literally rolled that sucker up into a big package and tossed it in a box and said, bye. Yeah. Everybody is very happy about your pencil box idea, by the way.
It's cheap, too, especially if you wait until school supply time. You can get them for like 50 cents.
Yay! It's true. Did you hear this about Crooked Knits wrote in and said that Knitter's Pride came out with what she thinks was a set of rosewood needles hooks that had Swarovski stones on the end?
I saw those on the Knit Girls podcast. Yeah. They had a set to review. They were very fancy.
That seems like a luxurious kind of thing.
Yeah.
And let's see.
They were very, very fancy.
Tara has a busted sewing box from her Nana that she sat on and broke when she was small. Is that what, Tara, is that what you're carrying your needles in? Just the busted one? Oh, man. Oh, dear. Yeah, I agree. I'm not very good about putting my stuff on Ravelry. In fact, I haven't put anything on there for a year or two.
No, I'm really bad at finishing projects. So it's not very motivating to put projects on Ravelry when you never finish them. They just sit there.
But that's good because you took over CraftLit when I was gone that week, 9 years ago.
When the ear surgery. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. And now you were able to fill people in on the things.
I know. The stuff still isn't done. Most of that is. Yeah, a lot of that is. A lot of that is. I should actually go back and try and listen to those episodes and figure out what projects
it's true
they were and see if they did get done or if they're still sitting somewhere. That would be really funny.
I know. I found a box of UFOs that I looked at, and now I'm sitting there thinking, I'm thinking Frog Pond. It's
or look and see if you have because we have a place called the Textile Center here in the Twin Cities, and they have a big garage sale, which, oh my gosh, it's April. It's going to be coming up pretty soon. They have a big garage sale, and literally you can donate your unfinished projects, and it will raise money. It raises money for our textile center here.
What a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And somebody's going to grab it that either really loves the yarn and wants to repurpose it or wants to actually finish the project. So I always just throw in the pattern, and if it's knitting, I put the stuff on waste yarn, and but yeah,
that's a great idea.
A good way to move things on that you maybe just don't want to revisit again.
I wonder if the local yarn store here, they have a room that's kind of like their work room, but it's also where they do spin-in. So there's a couch. It's it's not like table and chairs and kind of dry and foreboding. It's very comfortable. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if they have enough people who would be interested in either doing a fundraiser or a swap. Just bring your UFOs in, packaged, and give as much information as you can. Mm-hmm. That's fun.
Take what you bring. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and Henrietta said, what was it called? I have to read back to see. Tara keeps all of her knitting things. She said she patched the top of the broken box with sewing patterns that were cut up and Mod Podged them into place.
Oh, cute!
That's a really cute idea. Mm-hmm. She said, I used the plan parts on the patterns because it was avocado green.
Rejoice in the 70s.
Right. Love, embrace. Embrace. Robin also said she thinks she's going to free cycle her stash of different weights and just start fresh to free cycle the acrylic. That's a good idea too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or you could make a dwarven battle bonnet of, many colors.
That's right. That's right. Oh my God.
It could be the Joseph of Viking hats.
That would be very fun.
It would be very fun.
That would be very fun. Oh, and Crooked Knit said she's having the same kind of cognitive dissonance that I've been having lately, that it seems like it was just yesterday that I was talking about trying to get Thing 2 off the pacifier.
Oh.
And now he's in middle school.
Yep.
Yeah, the 15-year-old has not figured out that I talked about them when they were younger.
and that he can go back and listen to the beginning of all the CraftLits from the beginning and hear the scoop about what Mom was saying about him.
Oh, yeah. He hasn't figured that out, and he hasn't figured out that his friends could easily go back and listen as well.
Which would be even more beautiful.
Yeah. I'm going to be so busted when he...
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and he's kind of... It's interesting because, the 15-year-old mind, he kind of remembers that he really couldn't read when he started school. Mm-hmm. But he also kind of doesn't remember that because once he did start reading, he went from not reading to reading chapter books in about 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. And so for him, in retrospect, it feels like he's always been reading and writing, but he so hasn't.
Right.
And so he has kind of an interesting perspective on all of it, and I think he was just an incredibly lucky kid that he was completely clueless.
Yeah.
That he didn't notice that it was a problem. He didn't care. He was just kind of making up stories and having a good time, and didn't matter.
Right.
So yay, I would have been a wreck had I been him, but him not. Oh yes, Tara, please. Tara's going to send pictures of her sewing box. Yay!
Yeah, that would be fun.
I know. Yes, someday they will listen and they will be pissed. Actually, the 15-year-old will be pissed. The younger one will say, "Mom, why didn't you talk about me more?"
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You know what I did when my sister, because my whole entire life, I'm the older sister and I have a younger sister. My whole life, I heard from my sister about how there were no pictures in existence of her, right? For her graduation from dental school, I went into my parents' basement and pulled out, because I was born in the early 70s, she was born in the mid 70s. What did people do with all of their pictures in the mid 70s? Made slides. So there weren't any pictures of her. They were all slides. So I took all the slides, literally, and you can get this little thing that, like, you put the slide in and it scans it. So we scanned them all into digital pictures and printed them out, and I made her a really old-fashioned photo album with the nasty plastic pages and stuff. And that was her graduation gift.
Did she shut up after that?
It was very funny. So she has them all digitally, and she has these like totally old school photo albums of herself too. That's just all her.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some of that. You didn't take enough pictures of me stuff going on in this house at some point.
Yeah.
I don't think he's figured it out yet. But I mean, I started to think that I didn't have pictures of him, and then I started looking and thought, oh my God, no, I did, because they were both in the land of digital photographs. Right. So there's tons.
Yeah, there's tons of pictures. Well, and it's funny. In my third, justifiably, we don't have a ton of pictures of him from when he was a baby, but it comes around because now. Because, so I've got the 15-year-old and the 14-year-old, and Nick is just 10. Right. Now he premieres in almost all of our pictures because the other two are like, don't, no. I have a lot of, like, the back of their head and the side of their head, and then there's Nick. Right. Look at me.
Yep. Everybody else is doing the kind of, like.
Right. Yeah.
What was that movie? It's The Incredibles. What was her name? Violet, the one who's always like, yeah. I love that. Mm-hmm. That was so. Oh, that was what we saw this weekend. I wish I could take everyone with me. The Ben Franklin Institute. One of the reasons we went is because Pixar has this huge exhibit on Pixar animation.
Neat.
It is so cool to get to see all the hand-drawn-y stuff as it starts to morph into the non-hand-dry stuff, and the numbers of steps that things go through was so different in some ways, so different from what they did at Disney with the 2D, where you really did have, like, you had a lead animator who did Aladdin, and then he had a couple of assistants, and they did all the keyframes, and then you had the in-betweeners who would move from this facial expression to this facial expression. They did all the 24 frames that you needed. Right. You can't do that when you do digital. Everybody winds up in-betweening, and nobody winds up as kind of the lead animator. So there's somebody who does the character model, and then it all kind of goes from there. But it was fascinating because what they had was all the stuff about Inside Out. Oh, and cool. I know, and the final character model of Joy, the main character, that was version 27. Wow. Yeah, and so when you talk about, with children, how revising is really important. You can write your first draft and it looks great.
Go through 27 of them.
Yeah.
Be glad you don't work for Pixar.
Right? Oh my God. And it was great because they had all these little videos of people who work there talking about stuff, and they clearly didn't they weren't thinking like an educator, but all the parents in the in the building were watching, going, see, because they'd say things like, how you would think after you'd done 6 or 7 of these movies that it'd be a well-oiled machine. They're like, no, because the technology improves, and so you stretch because there's more that you could do. But what that means is that every single movie had a new problem to solve. And with Inside Out, their problem was that all of the inside the brain characters were all actually and in fact made of particles. They weren't just sparkly. They were actually made of particles. And so they move and they behave like
a liquid or a gas?
Like a gas, yeah, and it's a little Heisenberg thing too, because stuff will disappear and then it'll reappear. But on a microscopic level, as far as that's concerned. And I thought, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah, computer modeling. So awesome.
I know. It's so, I think a lot of people think that it's not creative the way that 2D animation is. It's just a different kind of creative, but it's a lot of problem solving skills. And in fact, the guy who did all of the Paris sets for Ratatouille.
I love that movie.
Okay, he's an architect.
Oh, fun.
And he said he had wanted to go into animation when he was a kid, and then he thought, well, there's no future in that. And so he went to architecture school, and after a while he said, wait a minute.
I can put these two together.
I can do both. This is so awesome. Yeah.
So he's the architecture animation specialist.
Yeah. And he also said that one of the things that they had to do, which I thought sound very, it's not Zen. What's the word? Is it Wabi? It's the imperfection. It's the Japanese, the beauty of imperfection thing. There's a word for it.
Okay.
But it's, somebody's going to type it. I know they will. When they did when they did the Ratatouille sets, he said that they built the buildings so that they were all perfect and they were all based on actual buildings in Paris, and then they had to break them. So if they had two walls that were meeting at a 90-degree angle, they had to just mess it up a little bit. The same thing that they do with texture, where they have to try and work in imperfections, otherwise it looks really fake.
Yeah.
And that's why Paris looked like Paris. It looks a little bit older. It looks like it's got some character to it instead of being perfect and clean. And the boys really, they thought that was really pretty cool.
That is really pretty cool.
I know. These creative people. Creative people, who knew?
So Gus came to visit, so you're going to have some more dogs snorting to edit out this week. Sorry.
I thought I heard some doggy snorting.
Yeah. Yeah. He was asleep upstairs, but apparently he was like, who's she talking to down there?
Wait, people? What?
Wait, it's not me. Do we have visitors? Yeah.
I love it. Oh my good God. We've got Robin said, yes, she's talking back about the kids in reading. His big brother is a simple boy and knew the alphabet in 7 languages and had been reading a year and a half before kindergarten. That's what my sister was like.
Yeah.
And she does. Wabi Sabi. That's it. Thank you, Kathy.
There you go.
I knew. Tara says hello to Gus.
Oh, hello to Gus. Here. There he is.
Oh.
That's Gus.
That face. I just love the way he's kind of looking over his shoulder like.
A little disdain.
Yeah.
He is also my dog who does not like to have his picture taken. We have had dogs before if the camera's out, they do everything they can to get in front of it. I don't know how they know, but they do. He will not let you take his picture to save his life.
No, he looks a little bit like the. Really?
Yeah.
You think? Yes, and CrookedNet says he doesn't look happy to be woken up.
Well, he's all warm, so he must have been sleeping in the sun somewhere.
Oh, sweet boy. Yay! Yay.
No, but he's a bulldog. They very rarely actually look pleased.
It's kind of a thing.
It is a thing.
I found a podcast. I'm going to see if I've actually got the I probably closed the link. I found a new podcast today from a podcaster for anybody who works with or is interested in rescue animals. Her whole podcast is on kind of the care and feeding of rescue animals, but also training, where to find good rescue dogs and animals in general. I think she even has horses, and I'm trying to think what other animals I saw in her show notes. But it's a lovely podcast that she does, and I liked that she was talking about the training factor, because that can be a thing. But
I should actually listen, because maybe we would have a better experience next time. Not because Gus we've had since he was a baby.
Right.
But having to take Dilly back was really kind of traumatic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my least favorite thing to have to do. It was hard leaving Arizona and leaving the dogs. Even though we found a great family for them to be in, it was.
Yeah. I mean, she was only here. Well, she was here for almost a month. But yeah. Wow. We still all have post-traumatic stress, I think.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
That's no fun.
No, it wasn't.
No.
But.
Blah.
Yeah. But blah. On that happy note.
I know. Woo! Let's go have a good day.
Yeah. So I think, like, before I went on vacation, I had told people that I would bring my spindles, and we'd do that. So maybe next week.
Yeah.
I'll bring the spindles.
Definitely, because that'll give me a chance to do more spindly stuff between now and then.
Yeah. No, I'll find them. I don't know where they are.
Eric and I forgot that you were going on vacation, so we did our spindles, and then I found a bunch more.
Oh, cool!
So it'll be good.
Very neat. Yeah. Well, and I totally planned for last week too. I loaded the Google Hangout app on my iPad, and I was all prepared to sit on the balcony and do it there. But then I put all my devices on Do Not Disturb, so I wouldn't get all my work. I could ignore all my work stuff, right? And so we were down on the beach, and literally one of the kids was like, "What time is it? I'm hungry." And it was 1. I'm like,
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, it was just as well that you were wise enough to stay away, because my audio was it was possessed. It was bouncing in and out and then just shutting off entirely. And I've spent a good chunk of the last week trying to figure out what was going wrong. There are several theories. One is that my webcam that I love might not play nicely with Google Hangouts. And you would think that because it's the number one camera on the market as far as not huge. In fact, I can show you. It's not hugely expensive. It's a Logitech. It has excellent quality. It's these. I mean, these are all over the place. Yeah, except Google Hangouts doesn't play well with them.
Well, and okay, so if you were making a webcam, wouldn't you make sure it works well with Google?
Well, I would think
Google.
I would think you would. I would also think that since the problem started in 2012, and it is the number one seller, that Google might get together with them
and figure it out.
Call me crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I mean, it was one thing after another, and if you go and try and troubleshoot something that is a Google product troubleshooting thing, good luck. That is my advice.
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever had stellar luck troubleshooting anything electronic, to tell you the truth.
I will show you. I actually brought this up to say this was that I finally figured out the proper way to troubleshoot Google products is this.
Nice.
And that's pretty much the end of it.
Yeah.
So that's why
then you just put it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just walk away from the computer with the bottle in hand, and everything will be fine.
Nice.
Because there isn't any other solution.
Nice.
Yep. So it's good that you were on the beach and relaxing last week.
Oh, there you go. It all worked then.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Next week I'll show you my spinning.
Yay. That will be
But
awesome.
then, it's starting to get warmer here in Minnesota, so sometime probably in the next month, I have some fleeces in the basement I have to wash.
Ooh,
So maybe we'll do that.
We can do Action Jackson stuff.
It could be fun.
Because I have the dog hair that I've been washing. Yeah.
Are you doing it by itself, or are you blending it into something?
Oh no, I'm blending it. It's very flowy, fly away, up your nosey stuff. So I've been hand card blending it with Romney, which is it's coming out really, really nice because the dog hair is very silky and it's not doing any nasty things. And but yeah, I didn't understand how bad dog hair would smell after being in a bag for a year. To the point that animals were trying to get into the garage to pee on the washed dog hair. Yeah.
You get some kind of weird bonus points for persevering with that project then.
I had to do something because the garage smelled so bad. So actually my fail-safe.
How much of it did you have?
I had 2 garbage bags. I was doing a
dog
trade.
Hair?
Yeah. Yeah. So 2 years old and 1 year old, and there I am washing it. And I went with the traditional you use Dawn dishwashing detergent to get all the grease out, right? Okay, that was a bad idea. So then I went with boiling hot water, like crazy hot water, and PineSol. And I soaked the bejujus out of that stuff, where I just kept putting hot water and more PineSol in. So it was a kind of a constant turnover for about 2 hours. I kept the process up. As soon as I could put my hands in the water, I switched it into the next boiling bucket. And then at the end of that, I did one more, after I let it cool off in its own bucket. I did a warm rinse, and then one more Dawn dishwashing detergent cycle, and now it doesn't smell. And I, from a health food hippy dippy store, I got some vanilla oil, and I sprayed it all over everything while it was drying because it was very dry air and it was getting flyaway-y anyway. I thought, well, oil isn't going to hurt the spinning process, and God knows it'll make it smell a little bit better. And that actually, that seemed to work because the Dawn took out the PineSol scent. Okay. And the Dawn itself doesn't leave any scent behind. And then whatever lingering dogginess now smells like vanilla. Wow. It was a way bigger process than I thought it was going to be.
Wow. What kind of dog hair is it?
Samoyed.
I suppose it makes sense. They probably have an undercoat and an overcoat, right?
They do, and they have guard hairs.
So they probably have, because they're a dog that's bred for severe weather, they probably have some kind of, obviously nothing as severe as lanolin, but they still probably have something in their coat that is meant to be water repellent. And
it has to be, and it had to be, which I hadn't considered before, but it makes a lot of sense, that undercoat, especially if you live in a climate where it gets warm in the summertime, that undercoat's going to trap smell as much as it's going to trap heat. And boy, did it.
Wow.
And that was after, the first time I washed it, it was appalling. I went in and I really went through the blanket and just pulled out anything that looked like it was dirty. Just gone. And then I did mention to the woman who I did this for that if she was going to save their hair in the future, which she said she was, to wash the animal before shearing it, which I know is like completely bass-backwards, but if you want to use the fiber, you would cut yourself so much time and trouble. Right. If it was at least marginally clean before you started.
Beforehand.
Yeah. Oh, and I see. We are not the only people in the chat window who have been having the same kinds of issues. Yes. Henrietta has the fleece washing down. Yeah. Oh, and Robin, definitely. She has Great Pyrenees mixes. Yeah, totally. Have the groomer. That's what this woman does. She has the groomer save the hair. If she doesn't wash the animal first, though, let it air out for a while.
Before you store it.
Before you decide to store it. Yeah, it really, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Lesson learned. And on that fleecy note.
Yeah.
Until next week.
We can say goodbye, because now we've been talking for an hour again.
I know. It just seems to be something we do. All right. Well, I'm so glad you're back and safe and sound and had a good time. Yay.
Mm-hmm. Yay.
And we'll see you next week with spindles on.
Next Tuesday, I will unearth them all.
Yay.
Maybe I'll even spin a little before then. We'll see.
Excellent.
I haven't in a while, so.
I know. I feel the same way. Cool.
We should. Okay. Very good. All right. We'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. And those of you who are in the chat room, if you have any links in there that you guys want saved, don't forget, as soon as I go off the air, that chat window is going to shut down and go bye-bye as well. So if you click on somebody's name and do Control A if you're on a PC or Command A if you're on a Mac, you'll be able to copy all of it, and then you can just delete the stuff that you don't want to and don't want to save and have the links left. Or Henrietta's excellent instructions for how to clean fleecy things. So have a great week. It was so good to see you here. I'm sorry we didn't have Erica. She is off having a nice vacation with her husband. So I thought that was just fine. And she'll be back next week, as will we all. So have a great one. We'll talk to you later.